East Coast munchies.
Quick pizza dough time. We're going to start with 2.5 cups of warm water. Add that into the biggest bowl you got. Next, a fat tablespoon of active dry yeast. I like to wait 5 minutes to make sure the yeast is still active, and then add in about 3 teaspoons of sugar. And let rest for another 5 minutes. Once that yeast is all puffed up, you can add another tablespoon of salt to the mixture, followed by 6 cups of whatever flour you want to use. Regular all-purpose is fine. I highly recommend messing around and trying some 00 flour or maybe even some wheat in the mix. Split the recipe 50-50, 3 cups one, 3 cups the other. That's also really good. Next, you'll just play with this dough in the bowl until it all starts coming together. Mix it around, scrape the edges off, get it all nice and combined, and eventually it'll come together into a big ball of dough. At that point, I like to keep folding it in on itself a couple times, mushing it together just until it becomes smooth, and you used up all the flour in the bowl. After a good 5 to 10 minutes, it'll start coming together and really taking form. At this point, you'll want to find a bowl about equal in size and coat it in some olive oil. Then, put in your newly formed dough ball, move it around, make sure the whole bottom's coated in oil, and then dress the top, rub it around, make sure the whole dough is covered in oil. You don't want crispy, crunchy, dried out dough on top. Once it's covered, cover your bowl with a warm, damp cloth. Let it sit out for at least a good 3 or 4 hours if you're going to try to use it today. If not, put it in the fridge overnight. You should have a nice, fluffy, airy dough like this that's about doubled or tripled its size. I like a lightly floured countertop, and you can cut this into 4 or 6 pieces. I go with 4 because I like a thicker dough, but if you wanted a little more thinner crust pizzas, I'd cut this into 6. Now you're going to want to shape your dough. You'll start off by grabbing one of your squares and folding the corners down, under, into itself. And that'll start making it look a little rounder. You'll then pinch and pull that bottom together. Then you'll put it down on your work surface and start turning the dough, pushing underneath with one hand and turning with the other. Then you'll start pulling under and turning with both hands. It's hard to explain, but it kind of looks like this. It helps stretch the outside skin of the dough to help create a nice, firm, taut ball. Once it looks nice and smooth, you can set these aside on an oiled tray. You'll then want to set aside all your dough with a nice, warm, damp cloth until they've about doubled in size again. And in the meantime, we'll whip together a super quick sauce for our pizzas. I'll start with just a cup of peeled ground tomatoes from a can, followed by a full good drizzle of olive oil. You'll want to add a few ripped up fresh basil leaves, and rip up some fresh oregano leaves. A pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper, and a dash of onion and garlic powder. Mix it up and you're good to go. This fresh, bright tomato sauce tastes good on literally almost any type of pizza. Now that your dough's had time to rest and puff up again, you're going to want to slap it on a lightly floured surface and start pushing out from the middle to the edges. Flip it over, do the same thing, Just try not to pulverize all of the air out of the dough. You can also put it on the table and just slowly stretch it from side to side. You can also pick it up and turn it and let gravity do all the work. And then sooner or later, you'll have something that at least resembles a circle. Next, you'll want to heat up your pizza stone, your pizza steel, or your cast iron griddle to around 500 degrees in the oven. Heat it up, take it out, add a healthy drizzle of olive oil, and a good layer of cornmeal. It really helps ensure that your pizza doesn't stick and slides right off the pan. If you're using a steel or stone, obviously you can skip this step and just slide it in the oven off a pizza peel. And if you're using cast iron, just move a little quicker so all the heat doesn't dissipate from your pan. This is now a totally blank canvas for you to do with what you please. I'm going to make a couple different pies, but this first one is just a regular old Neapolitan. Nice layer of sauce, a little cheese around the edge, and a bunch of big old chunks of mozzarella. Depending on how thick your crust is, you're going to want to put this in the oven for at least a good 10 minutes on that high heat. And look at that. The only thing that could make this better is some fresh ripped up basil leaves and a sprinkle of parm. And there you go, pure pizza goodness. Once you have this super easy basic dough down pat, it becomes super easy to whip these up whenever you want for dinner. And don't be afraid to try different sauces and toppings. Another one of my favorites is pesto as sauce with ricotta all over it. It's also really good with caramelized onions and sausage on it. Or you can stick to the basics, make a good old pepperoni pizza, whip up some garlic butter, cover the crust. Or keep it simple and go with triple cheese. Whatever you make, I hope you enjoy it. Like this video if you like pizza, and subscribe for more recipes.